So when it comes to the XFL, everyone that follows the XFL, that's a fan of the XFL, they have like their buy-in moment. That moment where there's like, okay, I can get behind this. After the failures of the first XFL, after the failures of the AAF, fans are very hesitant when it comes to an alternative football league. So it's imperative that the XFL, legitimizes themselves off the bat. So for some people, it was branding. For some people, it was, cities. For some people, it was the TV deals. For me, it was the day that Vince McMahon hired Oliver Luck. The dude is a winner. Kenny, you have his resume in front of you. Just this guy legitimizes everything right off of the bat.
He's unbelievable. His resume reads like a career highlight reel for like most business executives. For one, he's a lawyer, graduated from UT School of Law, University of Texas. But everything, like I said, the guy's touched, he is turned to gold. He was, I think one of the cool things, he was named the first ever president and general manager of the Houston Dynamo. And I'm not a big soccer fan by any means, but they were an expansion team in 2005. And then in 06 and 07, they went back-to-back MLS titles, MLS Cups. The NCAA, he was executive vice president for regulatory affairs. He ran the Houston Sports Authority, kind of on the you want to say the civilian side, the political side of things. He ran NFL Europe for 4 years. I mean, he was the AD at West Virginia during, some of their best years. The guy, everything he touches from a business perspective just seems to turn to gold. And not to mention, he has a football background. He was a quarterback in the NFL. He backed up Warren Moon.
Could you have more of a well-rounded resume for this specific job than what Oliver Luck has? He has the player's perspective. He worked for an alternative football league, NFL Europe. He was an administrator at West Virginia, so he has the college experience. He worked in the NCAA. He was a president of a professional organization with the Houston Dynamo, and he was successful in all of them. So guys, if you're Vince McMahon, and you come into a meeting with ESPN, Fox, when you're trying to meet with Bob Stoops, do those guys take you as seriously if you don't have Oliver Luck or someone of Oliver Luck's caliber right by your side?
I don't think there's any way. I think when I look at Oliver Luck's resume from top to bottom, it screams visionary, right? And there's only so many of those people out there in the business world. You look at Bill Gates, you look at Mark Zuckerberg, guys of that nature. But then you look at Oliver Luck, and I think a little bit in the same breath, but kind of in a sports way. And there's not many guys out there. So if I'm an ESPN executive and I'm sitting there and Oliver Luck comes in the room, I'm standing up a little bit straighter. I'm willing to give him my ear on what he's going to try to tell me about the XFL and why it's going to be such a great product. Again, he's a visionary. And I think if you pair him up with Vince McMahon, who is also another visionary, but more in kind of the entertainment realm, I think you have a dynamite 1-2 punch. And I agree with you, Riley. It couldn't have been a better hire. I mean, this guy is just oozes leadership.
When I think about it, I just think, it is what it is. History says this league will not work, right? The XFL the first time didn't work. No. The AAF didn't work this time.
You're 100% right.
Anytime you have a startup league, it just doesn't work. So if I'm ESPN, if I'm ABC, if I'm Fox Sports, what's going to tell me this time, like, hey, it's going to work? And honestly, Luck is like the key ingredient to all of this. He's the foundation.
I feel like this is it. If it doesn't work now, I don't think it's going to work.
It's never going to work. I agree with you, Riley.
No.
You're not going to have a recipe of the business side with the funding through Vince McMahon and the leadership of Oliver Luck and the football operations aspect. You're not going to get that again. And if it does fail with those in place now, it's just not in the cards.
Well, and Gless touched on it, and another word I like to use too is he's a disruptor. He's a disruptor, and what does every successful startup have behind the scenes as a CEO or someone in influence? A disruptor. He instantly legitimizes a startup league to the eyes of the general public and to, like you talked about, ESPN, Fox. There's a reason they're on the main stage, main channels. They're gonna for those companies because he instantly legitimizes the business model for this league. There's a home run hire. Home run.
He serves as the face. These other leagues didn't have a face. Bill Polian, he was head of football operations, but he wasn't the commissioner.
Right.
Charlie Ebersol was the guy that kind of created it behind the scenes. The AAF didn't really have a face, like a person that was leading them. In the first XFL, from a football operations, they had nobody. I mean, it was Vince McMahon going out giving his wrestling shtick, and NBC Sports and Dick Ebersol, and that was it. So here you have a guy, you have a person that you can point to and be like, this is our leader. This is the guy that's gonna get the job done. Here's the list of everything that he's accomplished, and man, is it impressive.
It's really impressive. But the other thing is just the wide range of what he's done, right? So business development, right? He knows how he has that skill to his resume. Understanding media deals, right? Understanding what it's like to be a sports team executive, like with the Dynamo. Understanding what it takes to be a business executive at Sports Authority. It's just, and then you go into the administration part, right? Like how to build a leadership team, how to be a visionary. And you can see that, being an AD at West Virginia. I mean, what more could you want, right? Again,
he talks about it too.
I don't know what it is.
I mean, he didn't have a long NFL career, but he had an NFL career as a quarterback, as a backup quarterback. So he understands the importance of a league like this.
Yep. He can relate to it at the end of the day.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Yeah. I think honestly also is geographically, he's done it in Europe. He's done it in West Virginia. He's done it down south in Houston. So not only that diversity in the sports, whether it comes to soccer, football, and athletic director and things like that, also geographically. Well-traveled. I mean, this is just a home run hit in every aspect that we can think about.
And they say never apologize for being the smartest guy in the room. He's the smartest guy in the room. The guy's a Rhodes Scholar finalist. Like, I wouldn't surprise me if he's in Mensa.
Yeah.
Like, he's got a law degree. Like, he's not dumb. Like, this isn't some guy. He's not like some gunslinger maverick. He's calculated. He knows sports. He knows sports business, and he knows business outside of sports. Like, I can't think of a much better fit to run a startup football league.
And just to bring it back to what Riley was saying, I mean, the fact that he's personally invested, because he was in that position at one point. He needed another lead to go develop himself. I just think that brings another whole element that we haven't really talked about or thought about, that he wants to help somebody else that was just like him that's out there.
Well, when you're recruiting guys, go ahead, Gless.
Yeah, I think what it really hinges on too, and I don't know if you guys agree, but the synergy between Vince McMahon and Oliver Luck is going to be absolutely vital to the success of this league, right?
Yeah,
Vince is very much a visionary. Vince is uber successful.
It's going to depend on him staying out of the way. He's going to have to stay out of the way. And
Oliver
Luck has the resume to be able to tell Vince McMahon. Not many people can tell Vince McMahon, hey, dude, you need to back up and let me do my job. Yeah. Let me handle this. And Vince McMahon actually listened to them. But, Oliver Luck is a guy that can do that. Yeah,
I 100% agree. They got to know the lanes, right? And that synergy of, all right, you know what? Vince McMahon's got to be able to step back and be like, all right, Oliver's got this. Right, I don't need to be involved in this. I don't need to be overly involved, and that's going to be a challenge because I think
absolutely
has struggled over that for the years.
Yeah. Well, and Oliver Luck has a very interesting quote. He goes, this is kind of talking about the league and Vince and capital and all that stuff. He goes, but there's something to be said for having one individual who's responsible entirely for capital commitment. And it's not WWE. It's Vince McMahon and his company, Alpha Entertainment. It's not like I have to go to a board of directors. Vince makes the decisions on what he wants to do, and that makes my life easier. I can focus on the football piece and not having to raise money.
Yeah, it's just one thing off the table that he doesn't have to worry about, so he can focus. And obviously the timeline helps out too, where other leagues rushed their product, getting it onto the field. Oliver Luck, he was given a combination of funding and time. And it's still not even enough time. Oliver Luck has said he wishes he had more time. But it is more time than other leagues have given or allocated in the past. So if there's a recipe for success, it started the day that Vince McMahon hired Oliver Luck and all of the pieces that are put in place as they move forward. If it doesn't work now, it's not going to work. And I'm pretty confident with Oliver Luck at the helm, it's going to work. What's up, football fans? This is Riley from XFL Chalk Talk. Subscribe below and hit that notification bell so you can receive the latest episodes and bonus content from the show. And interact with us on social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at XFL Chalk Talk.